Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to the LizyT Show. And we are on air. Welcome to Toronto, Canada. I have prepared for you a incredible interview, incredible surprise. Our guest is right now with us, and so if you would like Elizabeth to click on that little arrow button that is here, you can share this with your viewers, with your followers. That'll be great. So basically you have to click in here and share with your followers. Also, if you have questions, concerns, if you would like to interact with us, there's also a little round button here. You can post your question, you can write it here, and I will be able to show it to the whole world. That way everybody can read it and we can answer it. Not a problem. I would like to thank all of you that are plugged in today with our show. Today is going to be a very emotional show. That's why I have my tissue here, because this is an author that has definitely touched a lot of lives, including her and her family. And I will share with you right now. We're going to be speaking to this incredible lady. Her name is Elizabeth Bernice, and she has an incredible story to share with all of you. A story that is moving, is a story of faith, a story of persistence, a story of endurance, really. So like I said, just talking about it, I need a tissue, but I am hoping that some of you can definitely interact with us and share this incredible story with us. This is one of my favorite pictures of her, how I did it. And Elizabeth definitely will be somebody that can touch your hearts tonight. If anything, motivate you, give you inspiration, give you hope, and definitely it's going to inspire. So that's her today. So I'm going to give you a little bit of bio for you to have an idea of who I'm talking about. Elizabeth is an amazing woman of God and lives her life as an inspiration to her daughter. She was a former youth pastor and a mental health coach. Elizabeth is an advanced speaker, bronze Toastmaster. Congratulations, I'm a Toastmasters too, an international Toastmasters International. She is the CEO and founder of Speak Out, an organization that helps victims. Listen to this, victims. So if you know a victim, you know that what I'm talking about. Of sexual abuse, and of her voice of becoming victorious overcomer. Elizabeth is a number one, did I say that? Number one bestseller in Amazon of the book. You will hear all about it, where to get it, how to find it. And she adds to her list accomplishments of editorial position with the business of book publishing company, with her 10 book edit becoming number one in Amazon. She's an editor as well. Bernice, Elizabeth Bernice is also a member of RAIN, Rape and Abuse Incentive National Network, speaker and Bureau and Christian Women's CWS. So there you have it, a little bit of a story, a little bit of background, and again, you will be very amazed about her story, and incredibly inspired today. And that's really what I'm hoping that you could get out of this. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her on for you to be able to meet her, and for you to interact with her. So Elizabeth, I am looking for you right now, and hopefully you are here. And give me one more second. And I'm not finding you right now, Elizabeth. So I just saw you on Instagram. So hopefully you are here. And I am not seeing you, Elizabeth. Bernice. So if you are watching right now, Elizabeth, what I like for you to just connect with me. And I don't see you on my list. So Elizabeth, if you are here right now. And I'm texting you right now, Elizabeth. And I am texting you right now. So this is what happened, really. So if you want to send me your request, oh, I see. It's spelled different. So let me see here. It's there you go. I see you, but I'm not. If you are able to request, and her name is yeah, if you were able to request the invite, that would be great, Elizabeth, if you could request the invite. Yeah, I am trying to search for you and I don't see, I'm not sure why. Okay. I'm wondering if you have updated your Instagram. And I am, oh, there you are, Elizabeth Bernice, there you are. So you have a different name. Hopefully this is her. Hello, finally. Beautiful.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm phenomenal. Just very curious, very anxious, very happy to meet you finally, and very surprised to have you. I'm very blessed to have you here. So, Elizabeth, I've read a little bit of your bio, and for people that don't know you, can you give us a little bit of background where you are? Where am I talking to right now in the United States?
I am currently in Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. It's
Yes.
wonderful. How is hot? I assume very, very
Oh, yeah,
hot.
it is hot.
Boiling, boiling. Okay. So, for people that don't know very much about you, can you give us a little bit of background of your story? You're a public speaker with Toastmaster. I'm very familiar with that. Also, you've written book, you published book, but the part of you becoming an author and telling your story, how did that all came about?
Well, it was very interesting because I, early on in my life, was labeled selective mute. I was abused when I was 3 years old. First abused when I was 3, sexually. And by the age of 7, I thought sex was normal. I thought it was a part of life. I didn't know anything different. By the age of 11, I had a sex addiction. By the age of 15, um, um, I got saved and got into church. And at that point, it was, if it feels good, do it. And the church says, don't do it. And so I didn't know, I was confused. By the age of 21, I was in a sex addiction. And so all that time, I didn't touch other people. When I was going through the battles that I was battling sexually, mentally, physically. Um, and then I, um, I moved to, so I lived in Denver, Colorado. I moved to Grand Junction, Colorado, which is 4 hours away. And I was serving my pastors, my youth pastors, um, and and things just came up where they wanted you to find out who you were, how you fit in the church, and that's when I started to find out who I am and realize that I'm not this sexual person, that there's more than me to sex, and I wanted to know who that person was. And so Toastmasters is how I was able to first speak out about my sexual abuse and really just share that testimony out loud.
Incredible. Elizabeth, I honor you and God bless you. And I am so, so impressed that that God has given you the courage to speak out and tell your story. It's very difficult, very, very, very difficult. I know from personal experience, for you to talk about it and for you to even write about it, it brings you back to those moments that you don't want to be in. And so I know what you're going through. Obviously, your story is a lot more serious than that. I brought tissue because I know this stuff brings me to tears. So um, beautiful. I congratulations for you to be able to step out. Now, to write your story, one thing is to talk about it. You know, you've done it. You got your audience. They've heard you, and they're gone. Now, to write it, it's every time you had to put the pen and pencil or even type it in computer, it's very difficult. What gave you the inspiration? And I know it's God inspired, but what do you want to accomplish? What kind of legacy do you want to be able to leave by actually writing down everything that you went through?
Well, that's exactly what it was, his legacy. I have a 7-year-old, beautiful daughter. Her dad and I got divorced 5 years ago, and I didn't want my story to end on my lips. I wanted her to be able to share my story, and not share my story, but break generational curses. I wasn't the only one in my family that was molested. It was hidden for a long period of time, and in the Black community, it's not something you talk about.
No.
Everyone knows not to sit on that uncle's lap, but they don't say why not. It just means that it's not talked about. And I wanted my daughter to be aware, and to know that. And I never told her. They say the cute little, "Don't touch my cookie." No, don't touch my vagina. Don't touch. Like, I give her the real words to say, so that when someone does approach her, that she is educated and she knows what to
Mm-hmm.
talk about. And so it was that. It was her. I didn't want her and the next generations to go through what I went through. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
that generational curse breaker.
Mm-hmm. And it takes again a lot of courage. I am Modern Heaven. I'm actually having an interview with her next week. So she's saying, so sad testimony. It is sad, but it's reality. And you have the courage to come out and talk about it, and you have the courage to write. What was her reaction? What was your daughter's? How old is she, by the way?
7. So she hasn't fully read the book. I talked to her as she's developmentally ready. So, like,
Yes.
I expressed, like, vagina. Recently we talked about breast. She did bring up sex, so we talked about it. And so at the level of her development is how I address things. If she's asking about it, then she's ready to talk about it. And so we talk about it. She asked, how did her dad and I divorce? We talk about it. This is what happened.
Good.
And I let her
Good.
know, like, it wasn't her fault. This is just what happened. So she knows the truth of the story, and she
That
gets
is
the source.
And I think that's most difficult. We really want to protect our girls, our daughters, our sons. I mean, let's not forget, it's not just girls. It also happens to boys. So we want to be able to protect, and that there's a fine line when you think, I don't want my girls to date. I don't want them to see anybody. But you can't do that. You can't overprotect. You have to do what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it, to give them the proper names, not the candy code name, and
Right.
and say it the way it is. Absolutely. And you doing the right thing, and then the rest, you have to give it to the Lord. You have to
That,
trust that the Lord will protect our girls. And the reason it happened to us is because it was meant for us to go through that trial, and we are coming out with flying colors. I completely understand. And we're able to talk to other women that are going through and not able to come out of it. They're still in depression. They're still taking medications to try to. They're in drugs, some of them, to try to forget what they happened to them. And that's, I believe that we are vessels to be able to enlighten them and help them and guide them and give them, other choices. So good for you. Good for you. I don't want to forget, Elizabeth, for people that are watching now and or will be watching later on, because this is going to be saved here on my IGTV. Where can people get? You have several books published, but you have published one. I'm not sure if you have it with you right now.
you know what? I knew you were gonna ask that, and it's to show the picture of it. Um, but I do have online is ElizabethBernice.com, where the books can be bought there. The book is called No Longer Silent, and so it's just,
No.
yeah, No Longer Silent. So speaking out from that abuse, like I said, because I was selective mute, there's a lot of things that I didn't say or that was hidden, and so it was my chance to just get it out, get it all out.
Right.
So so I did. I let it all out. So yeah, No Longer Silent.
No Longer Silent, everyone, is the name of the book. I will have the links for Amazon. Absolutely. It's a must. You have to get it for at least someone. You don't know. There's a lot of people that are hiding things because they don't feel comfortable of talking about it, and that's completely okay. However, you could offer that book as a gift to someone, or they might know of someone, and they will be able to help. I'm Modern Heaven. She's saying maybe she can make this into a movie about it's absolutely,
Wow. Yeah.
absolutely. Um, I know she's in Georgia. Lots of connections. She's an actress and a Christian herself as well. So hey, maybe you guys should connect. But if you want to connect with Elizabeth, there is a link here. You can click back. You can follow Elizabeth right here as well. If you have more questions, there's a little arrow circle with a question mark. You can always write it here as well. And you can definitely follow Elizabeth through her social media. You're on Facebook, on Instagram, where else? And you have your own website.
Correct. Yep. And everything it's Elizabeth Bernice, and then my website again is ElizabethBernice.com.
I know. I don't know what you say, ladies. Okay, we're talking about to Bernice, everyone. She is an author, a public speaker. She's a mentor, and she's gone through sexual abuse, and she's sharing her story. She's written a book. It's called Not Longer in Silent. If you would like to get this book, definitely check it out. We'll have a link underneath this IGTV for you to be able to connect. Elizabeth, one of the things that I wanted to ask you is how have your family reacted with your book?
Oh, I have 5 siblings. And unfortunately, I did lose my mom 2 days after I had my daughter. Unfortunately, did not get to read my book, and I've never met my dad. So my sibling. So the first time I released it, none of my siblings read it at all, and they refused to have any part of it. And the second time, my sister did support me and buy the book, but she got to the first page and she just said, "You need therapy," and that's it. She never went beyond that page. And so if you're someone who has a story where other people are involved, especially family, you have to think beyond then, because God called me to write this book. And if I didn't follow what God told me to do, then I'm hindering the women that it's supposed to touch. There's 5 people who are in their feelings about the book, but there's going to be millions that are going to be touched. And so I have to look at it. Am I going to not do what God called me to do because of 5 people's opinions? Or am I going to fulfill his calling by sharing, again, like I said, to the millions? And so I wrote the book despite of how they feel.
And I'm not surprised that you're getting some negative feedback because that's to be expected, and absolutely, it's very understandable. And I'm glad that you have your situation, your position, very clear in your mind. You know that this is a calling from the Lord, and you're not gonna change it. You're not gonna be doing anything that throws you away from your calling. If you know that this is your calling, I for sure go forward, continue, and it's like you said, there is one person in this world. This world is pretty big, and there's a lot of people that speak English, and maybe you want to even translate it in different language that could benefit, that could be saved, that could their life could be changed. We know how many girls have been raped or have been abused and that have committed suicide. We know a lot of them. We need to stop one of those girls to do something stupid or silly and think about ruining their life because of an abuse. You don't know how you are going to be an instrument. We don't know what the Lord's purpose in our life is. So let it be used. Let it be used. Absolutely, absolutely. What's that's one of the negative feedback that you receive, but you probably have received very good feedback. I know that you're working with Sugar Ray, my brother in faith. I love him. So how did you guys connect it? And is he's the one that publishing your book, I assume?
Yeah, he was. And congratulations to him. He just got married this past.
Yeah, I saw that. Congratulations.
Um, so we met through um, a mutual out of a group called Breathe University, and I knew since 2015, where my marriage was starting to. Well, my husband had separated from me, and my mom was a single mom, and I knew that I didn't want to be um, I didn't want to lose time with my daughter because I was working. And so
Yes.
I felt that being an entrepreneur, being an author would help me spend more time with her, but at the same time make money. And so in 2015, I knew I was going to write a book, but that's when my divorce happened, emotions happened. I went through a depression, anxiety, just a lot of stuff. That then after all of that is when um, I linked up with Mr. Destin, and then we connected, and then 3 months later, I have this book, and then we released it again as an Amazon bestseller, and so I'm also a #1 Amazon bestseller as well.
Wow, congratulations. That is beautiful. Amazon bestseller.
Yeah,
That's a big, big accomplishment. I mean, if you look back and you look at your life, you know, everything that you went through from the age of 3 and you see yourself now, did you ever even imagine that that could have been possible, that your life could be a 160-degree turnaround?
there's there's no way that I thought I would be here. One, that I would ever share about my abuse, and two, that I would ever be in recovery from my addiction. I never thought those 2 things would happen, and I sit here and those things have happened, and it's all glory and thanks to God.
Wow, you know, glory to the Lord. That's it. I praise the Lord. I agree with you 100%. Do you still go through therapy? Do you still, I mean, because I mean, you've forgiven, you're moved ahead, you've understood what had happened. But I know that there's days, we have good days, just like any other normal person, good days and bad days, right? So do you still seek or a group or somebody that can, you know, just in case if you have those bad days, you still do groups or see therapy or see somebody can lift you up other than prayer and other than praising and other than going to church because, you know, all of those great things also help.
Yes. One thing I did learn is that there's some things that you can pray about, and there's some things that you do need counseling, and
Absolutely.
and and and, and prayer and happens in therapy too. It doesn't stop in a church building. It doesn't stop at the kneeling at your bed. You know, it's ongoing. It could be in someone's office, and so I surely did pursue therapy. I still pursue therapy, and then because I also know myself, I have what I call my three pillars, and so I have three women that any time of day I feel anything that I can call them and say, and it happened today. Um, when my daughter leaves to her dad's house, I get separation anxiety, and one of my friends contacts me every, Thursday, Friday, asks me how I'm doing, and I say, hey, today I felt like chatting with some guys and getting some sex toys, and she said, well, can you go on a walk or listen to some worship music instead? I ended up listening to some worship music, took a nap, and started cleaning the house. And so it does still happen. It's still real. I'm still single. God gave us the desire to have sex, and unfortunately,
Yes.
I still have to get those desires. I don't fulfill them, with anyone or myself. And so again, I have those three pillars of my life that I can contact them, and like I said, be transparent and open and share what needs to be said.
And I'm glad that you recognize that you are a human being and we are faulty, we're sinners. We have to constantly ask for God's help, and I can completely understand that. And that's one of the things that while we are in earth, we have to rely fully on his help from God or from our pillars in your case. And so both, and
Yeah,
the praise and the cleaning the house and the prayer, all of that until we leave, which as per what's been going on in the world, that's
yeah.
I'm sure it will happen soon. So
Mhm.
this is your second release of the book, and because of COVID, I assume you weren't, or were you able? I'm not sure how Colorado is. Were you able to have a book lunch, or it was totally online?
The second one was virtually or solely online, but my first one was in person. Um,
Beautiful.
but yeah, the second one was online.
Beautiful, beautiful. And for people that are watching us or will be watching us later on, what are your words of advice if they're listening, they're watching, and they're seeing your reaction, they're hearing what you go through all the time? What would be your advice to them to say, look, I know what you're saying. I've gone through. I know it's tough, but what would you say to them?
I would say that you are worthy enough to fight because
Amen.
everyone's everyone's recovery is not the same. And so to some people, going to church and having a simple prayer over you can work. You know, going to therapy and church can work. Maybe going to therapy, having pillars and church will work. And sometimes it takes years. It took me a long time to get to where I am, and I never thought I would get here because I didn't believe that I could. But once I saw myself worthy enough and deserving enough, because when you're in abuse, they make you feel little. They make you feel
Mm-hmm.
insignificant and that you're not worthy. And so you literally daily have to combat those words. I am enough. I am good enough. Which is, I don't know if you see the words kind of back here behind me.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what that says. Is that I am enough. I'm good enough, and I will make it. And so it's daily telling myself I win. And so it's literally, the Bible says, the transformation of our minds. It's the daily transformation of your mind. And so you have to find what works for you. And maybe it's not the first therapist you meet. Maybe and some
Mm-hmm.
therapy, like talk therapy, because I'm a speaker, I can talk you in and out and through and over and under. And so I needed a therapist that was very spiritual and that we didn't talk a lot. And so I did find a therapy group called Splankna that did muscle therapy. And so it's all, and it's through able to um, I was able to really recover a lot of that abuse, forgive myself, forgive God, forgive my mom, forgive my abusers. And so you have to find, we as women, we will find a hairdresser, child. We will look everywhere for a nice hairdresser, but we won't look
Mm-hmm.
at that for a therapist or a doctor or a nutritionist. And we need to take, our health is important. Our mental health is important.
Beautiful. I love what you said. You know, it's true. Sometimes we spend a lot more money and time looking for things that are not that important or not that imperative for our mental and emotional and spiritual life. And here we are doing things that they're not pertinent to the long run, the eternal run, right? That's really what we need to focus on, because this is temporary. Yes, we go through suffering. Yes, we go through abuse. Yes, you know, we go through a lot of things, but if you look at, we need to put our faith in what is forever, and it's not going to be here, because, you know, Jesus said, well, you'll go through a lot of suffering, and that's what we're going through right now. It's a lot of suffering. How are the things in Colorado right now regarding the pandemic? Are you guys still on lockdown? Are you guys still you know, going through the restrictions? We in Canada today is the first day that people can actually dine indoors. How has that affected you guys in Colorado?
I think we've been dining. Well, I think we've dined outdoors most of the time. Because Colorado is just is beautiful, almost 365. Even in the snow, they just had indoor heaters inside of tents and stuff. So we had outside most of the time. I think we just I think they just started where you can go into stores without masks as long as you're fully vaccinated. And in some places, you have to prove that you're vaccinated in order,
Okay.
in order to go without a mask. But yeah, so that's where we're at with things.
Beautiful. Now, people that know you as, I assume that you are now a part-time or an entrepreneur, but before you used to work for a corporation or a company or a store. I'm not sure what's the background, but you probably have a lot of friends that are not from church or not from your circle, and they see you now, or they heard you that you have published a book, or your personal a speaker, because a lot of people that I hang around is like, oh, do you have a show? So they don't know the other side of you, right? What do they say about you, you know, becoming this amazing published author and this great speaker?
Well, it was interesting because my last job, I worked at a retail store, and I remember, I walked in, I was a manager, and I walked in, and I remember everyone around me was getting promoted, and they kind of all looked at me, and I was quiet, and they said, "What's going on?" And I said, "I just published my first book," and
Wow.
and they all were just silent because they thought that they were better than me because they were getting promoted, and to myself I said, "You're getting promoted into a company and getting sucked in. I published my first book," and so to me it was huge that happened, and that because they thought they could bring me down, and they realized that they couldn't. That I was so much more than the corporation. And so when I do go, I still shop at that store. So when I go back, they'll say, "Well, where's your next book?" And so I have started writing my next book. I am on chapter 2 on writing my next
Well,
book.
actually, you've that's a good segue, because I was just gonna ask you, do you have any thoughts of writing a sequel or a second book, and what is it about? So, you know, share with us now.
So I thought it was going to be a sequel, um, but actually is more of, and I'm kind of calling it my Exodus right now. I don't know if that's going to be the title yet, but just talking about the wilderness, like I said, of it's not often that those of women who've been sexually abused to then have a sex addiction. So I'm going through that journey of what did I learn through that addiction? How did that addiction affect me? And I was saved during the same time. So how did God teach me through that process? And so it's all, if you think about the Israelites in the wilderness and
Mm-hmm.
how, God could have had them in the promised land in 11 days, but because of their ignorance, it took them 40 days. And so I talk about that, how, I could have been over my addiction in days, but because I didn't believe, and not just myself, but God, that God can truly do it, it took me 13 years in that wilderness of sexual partners and different things like that, getting HPV and different things like that to get to a point to say, hey, I don't need this. Sex is not my identity. God's my identity, and I
Amen.
and I can serve Him and worship Him greater than I can serve or worship these men. And so, so that's my basically what this book is going to be about.
Now, you do speak to a youth group. You do speak publicly because of Toastmasters, and you probably do. But have you ever thought of becoming a counselor yourself, or a person that could assist other ladies and perhaps boys that have gone through similar things that you have gone through? Because you probably are the perfect person to do so.
So my ultimate goal, my mom's name was Tyra, and like I said, she unfortunately passed away after, 2 days after I had my daughter. And so what I want to create a place called Tyra's House, where women can come in in the same situation that either my mom had. My mom was homeless when she passed away. She was a drug addict her life. She had the same story. She was a foster kid from a single mom. Mom didn't want her. Grew up with grandma. So taking those stories in, creating housing, and mom didn't know how to have basic living, you know, um, capabilities, if you will. Like half of us, there's six of us, like I said, half of us don't know how to cook because mom didn't know how to cook. We have to take that personal personal interest into cooking, and so I want to create a place where women can come and learn those basic life skills. Where those who have been abused, that they're able to have that therapy, have that place of safety. So that's my ultimate goal, is to help others and help other, again, women that have been through that. So yeah.
That's a beautiful dream, Elizabeth. Wow. That and knowing you, what you've gone through, what you are, and what have you seen in the future, and being able to published your book, I can definitely guarantee that you could do this. This is not just going to be a dream, it's going to be an accomplishment coming soon. And whatever here we could do to help you out, to promote it, to do anything, just let us know. I just want to say hello to a radio station in South America. Saying hello from Chile. So thank you so much for being here with us. This is incredible. So we're speaking to everyone, to Elizabeth Bernice. She is a lady who has published her book. She's telling her story. She's gone through abuse since the age of 3, which is I can't even fathom that. And now she is helping others. She's speaking to the world. I'm so happy to have blessed and privileged to have honor to have gotten to know you and share my story here with people in Canada and Chile and many other places that people are gonna definitely. Yes, thank you. Very amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
And she has a book that you can check it out at Amazon. It's called Not Longer
No,
Silent.
I found a little picture of it here.
Beautiful. Oh, wow. That is incredible. That is incredible. It takes a lot of courage to write your story, to write something like that, because, as a person that has been abused, it brings you back to that moment all the time. Especially, you have to relive the abuse, whether you want to be explicit or not, or wanted to be writing the details, is very, very tough. I can tell you, because I've been struggling with it myself. Mm-hmm. And it is very, very difficult. So kudos to you, praise the Lord for him allowing you to continue this wonderful work. You are a vessel, and you are allowing the Holy Spirit and the Lord to continue to help you out. And I'm glad that you're able to give advice to people and have this goal of having this house. There's so many people in the world, especially in the state. I'm not sure how the situation is, but if you look every time, especially now with COVID, we went through really rough time. Homeless went through the roof. People in the street went through the roof. There is no place for homes for them to stay. So I would say definitely is a big, big, big need. And teaching them how to cook, I've never heard that one before, which is a basic skill.
It's a basic skill. Yeah, exactly. And we don't realize that it's a skill that we don't learn because of abuse. We don't, because who's there to care for us in that way? And it becomes a controlling thing. I can cook for you, or I supply your meal, and so then who do you go to for food? And so that's that basic skill that I want to teach them. And I also wanted to say too, is that just like you said, it's so hard for us to relive that abuse. But the thing that I've learned through the process is that if we physically survived it, then we can emotionally do so as well, and we can't allow the emotions to kill us. And so we can do it. We can get through it. If we focus on that, we physically have overcome that abuse already. It's just taking that emotional step to get through it.
Wow. Yeah. You are absolutely right. And obviously, everybody has their days or their moment that you're ready to it. And some people are a little faster than others, like in Elizabeth's case, she's definitely healing a little bit faster than other people, and that's okay. Everybody has their own time. And again, now if the people wanted to reach out to you, just because they don't they feel embarrassed or they don't feel comfortable right here on the air, or maybe is there an email, or is there a place that they can connect with you at all?
Yep, it's just Elizabeth Bernice. Well, it's Elizabeth at elizabethbernice.com is my email address. And then again, my website, elizabethbernice.com. You can DM me on any of my Instagram or Facebook, and I will definitely be able to reach out to you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that's really what we need. We need to help each other, and we need to be conscious and thinking about each other. It's all about serving. It's all about being able to be used as a vessel to help or follow brothers and sisters that are suffering from all over the world. Don't just think that it's just Canada or the US. I'm sure there is, I know for a fact that this is happening all over the world, and especially in times like this. COVID, I think, has brought
Oh yeah.
a lot to the surface. I've been hearing quite a bit of stuff that I didn't think that would happen, but it has been happening. So it's incredible. Elizabeth, I love talking to you, but it looks like we are starting to run out of time at our interview, our talk. I hate to use the word interview. It's been such an honor. Again, bye, guys. Not Longer Silent is
No
the name of the
longer. No longer.
No Longer Silence, Not Longer Silent is the name of the book. I will have it underneath and here on this IGTV, and also um, if you need to get in touch with Elizabeth, you can always connect her through right here. There's a little arrow button. You can click down and you can connect with her through Instagram. She's also on Facebook, and she's also on website, and the books is on Amazon. Now, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, what are the I hope you don't have a bigger expectations for your daughter, but what would you like to see her doing with what you're doing?
Interesting stuff is that I'm not one of those parents who try to live my life through my kids, because again, being from an abusive place and being in poverty, it's very easy for me to live my life through vicariously through her. And I decided early on that I was going to let her be the woman God created her to be. And so that person is being a worshiper. And so whether that's through song or dance, and so she loves singing, she loves dancing. And so her dad and I make sure she's in those things. And then as she's watched me write my book, as she watched me become an author, she has wanted to write as well. And so she has started her own book. It's called Kamea's Life Now, and she's talking about living in the two different houses and how that's affecting her. And so I do encourage that. We do have writing time where she sits and writes and journals her thoughts for the day. And so I definitely encourage her in her authorpreneurship.
Wow, look at you. And this is something that it came completely from her,
Right.
right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's incredible. I know we really want to be able for our kids to follow our footsteps, but they have their own path, and God has picked their own path for them. So we just kind of have to, help them along and make sure that they're being protected. That's all we need to ask for, that they're being protected. And I completely understand, but good for her. Good for her. Love to talk to her about her books as well. So let's connect, because it would be so cute to speak to a 7-year-old author. There's not too many out there, but there are some. So incredible. And I assume she's really proud of you as well, right?
Oh yes, yeah. She definitely is. Charlie says you're the best mom. You're so amazing.
Mm. I think those are the best words that we can, as a mom, we can hear right now. You're the best mom. Doesn't matter, what kind of day you're having, how horrible your day is. If a daughter or a son tells you you are the best parent ever, we are just in
Yeah.
cloud nine. That's all we need to hear. We don't need millions. We don't need nothing. We just need those loving words from our kids, especially, the way the world is. Parents are hidden parents, and kids are very disrespectful and all that horrible stuff that have been going on in the world. So it's, yeah, yeah. So I want to thank you so much, Elizabeth, for being here with me today. I will share this talk with my peeps. I will have some clips, and I will put on my stories for people to check the whole conversation, and definitely for people to get the book, which is called No Longer Silence, on Amazon. And thank you so much. Any last word, my friend?
Well, I want to just thank you so much for the opportunity of being here, and man, you're amazing. Your show
Mm-hmm.
is touching lives and changing lives. So thank you for what you do and fulfilling what God's called you to do. So that's
Oh,
so my last words would be, like I said, we deserve everything that God has promised us, and it's all about us stepping out into that calling. And so whether you are from abuse or domestic violence, or maybe you did have the perfect life, whatever it is, like, fulfill what God has called you to do, because there's people out there that are waiting on your testimony.
that's right. I love that. That's going to be your quote. There's people out there waiting for your testimony. Love
Amen.
it. Love it. Praise the Lord for your life, and may God continue to use you and bless you. And I'm here for you. Whatever you need, I will support you 100%. Thank you, sister. God
Thank you.
bless you.
Bless you.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was a little bit, it got a little bit emotional, just a little bit. I was able to compose myself, and such a blessing, such an incredible story, and definitely motivational, because we need things like that to motivate us once in a while. We need to hear that we are not the only ones who's going through lots of trials and struggles, and it's only us, it's only me. But really, if you look around, there's a lot of people are going through a lot more worse. And I'm not trying to compare it or think that your situation is less. Uh, I would just say that sometimes sometimes is stories like her that gives you a different perspective. That's really what I'm trying to say. A different perspective, and that there is hope, that you can turn your life around, that you can overcome, that you're able to learn from what you went through, and that you're able to move forward, and not only that, just to be able to help others. And just exactly that quote that she just mentioned, that is imperative. If you get nothing at all out of this little talk that we had here, that alone, just and give the book. The book is called Not Longer Silent. This is a story about a girl that has been abused since she was 3, and now she is able to write about it and talk about it and teach, and share with the world. So incredible, incredible. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and for being here with us today. Um, Comments, they're unbelievably welcome, and also the cards that some of you were able to put on the live. Don't forget that we will be back on Monday with the winner of the singing contest is going to be on our YouTube channel. Her name is Brenda, and she's going to be not only talking about her experience, but also talking singing to us. I'm looking forward. Join us on my YouTube channel, which is the LizyT Show, and I will also have the video posted here on IGTV. Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend with your family. Enjoy. And I'm your host, the LizyT Show, and one of the producers. Thank you so much, and have an amazing day. Bye-bye, everyone.